Picking up the gun with his
You're live, Rabbi.
All right. Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Shabbat Shalom.
We are delighted to be able to offer our first online service. I am appreciative of our 10 volunteers that give us an actual minyan here in keeping with Jewish tradition, while we are able to include a larger community worshiping with us. It's been a very, very strange week, and we find ourselves in a different world than we did a mere 2 weeks ago. And so it seems especially appropriate for us to take a few minutes to just collect ourselves and enjoy this Shabbat, even though it comes on the path of a very, very strange time. So let's begin with a little bit of Nigun. Yai dai 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 yai dai 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 yai dai 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 yai dai 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 yai dai 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 yai dai 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 yai dai 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 yai dai 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 yai dai 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 yai dai 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 yai dai 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 yai dai 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 yai dai 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 yai dai 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 dai. Well, of course, it's long been the custom here at Congregation Kolami to begin our service with a reflection on Tov U'Bracha, on good and blessing. What are the things that have happened to us in the past 6 days that we are grateful for, that bring us joy or help us appreciate our lives. And at this time particularly, I think it's very useful to do this. So I actually have layers of good and blessing for us to talk about. I'm going to begin by checking in with my minyan. Is there anybody here in the minyan who has something to share of good and blessing in the past week?
We haven't killed our children.
Actually, someone else put that out. I really appreciate that. Did you want to add something, Adam?
Being able to sleep and catch up on rest.
Lovely. We're glad that you're able to do that. Yes, Ben?
The canceled STAR test.
Oh, yes. The canceled STAR test is especially exciting. Well, we are also grateful to Casey, our membership support vice president, who has been gathering up good and blessing announcements for us online so that we have some to share with you from our larger congregation. So let's begin with Sylvia Persky, who is delighted that her daughter Alyssa has returned from London. She is one of the few people that we know of directly who is in quarantine, just in case, because they're doing that for everyone traveling from Europe. But everything is good, so we're glad to have her home. So good for that. Melissa Hart wants us to know that Melissa's husband was able to find work, and they feel tremendously blessed by that. Meredith wanted to let us know that our Mishaberach prayers for her dad, B.J. Kirkwood, have been very effective for him, and he is doing well, and he is recovering his health rapidly. The Dukars, who are present, are also saying that their children have not killed each other. So this is all for the good. Lori Applebaum reports that her irises are blooming as she has never seen before. And she expects to have well over 100 peaches on her peach tree. So we can look forward to peaches at Oneg, hopefully. And then Eileen Redwood is reporting that Neil, who underwent surgery last week, is already walking with a cane after having a total hip replacement. So that's all for the good. In addition to which, we found that we could rather easily assemble more information about you out there. So we want to, first of all, offer a number of birthday wishes for Dory Morris, for Nikki Cohen, for Maria Underhill, for Danielle Roseberry, for Ephraim Selensky and Roger Underhill, all of whom have had birthdays this week. And for our young people, Maya and Hayden and Eve and Brendan, all of these people, we want to recognize them and congratulate them on their birthdays. And this week, there are 4 families in Colamy who are celebrating their anniversaries. That's Matt and Kathy Polikoff, Adam and Rachel Miller, Dale and Jackie Wade, and Ed and Nancy Glick. So mazel tov to all of them. We're going to get our service started with the kindling of Shabbat lights. We're going to do a slightly different order because of we're not going to be having oneg, and so we'll work accordingly. But it's my privilege to invite up our president, Becky Leonard, to kindle the lights of Shabbat.
One quick interruption, Rabbi. We had one more good blessing come in.
Yes.
From the Davis family.
The Davis family
Yeah.
reports.
They said they already had their little service at home and said the blessing over the wine and will sip their way through the service. So.
Oh, fantastic. All right. So we've got an audience.
That's lovely. That's just what I want to hear.
Uh,
Do you want me to read this or just like?
Just wait.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kishanu b'mitzvotav mitzivanu lehadlik ner Shel Shabbat.
Praise are you, Adonai, whose presence fills the world, who hallows us with mitzvot and inspires us to kindle Shabbat lights. May God bless us with Shabbat joy.
May God bless us
with Shabbat holiness.
And
May God bless us with Shabbat peace. Amen.
Live long and prosper.
Yep.
And slightly out of our normal pattern, we go right to our Kiddush. So please join me in that. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei v'rikafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kosho be'ahava u'ratzon hinchilanu zikaron l'maseh b'reshit ki hu yom tehillah l'mikrei kodesh zecher l'tziat Mitzrayim Kivanu b'hartam ve'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim v'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava uvratzon Inchaltanu, Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat. L'chaim. Now, we're going to go ahead and we're going to begin with our Kabbalat Shabbat. Our series of Psalms that welcome the Sabbath into our midst, the Psalms symbolically representing the days of the week, and we'll finish with Lecha Dodi. So we're going to begin on page 2 with Psalm 95. I know most of you do not yet have a prayer book at home. We're working on that. But we're going to begin with Lechuna Ranena. Lechune ranena, lechune ranena, lechune ranena, l'Adonai. Lechune ranena, lechune ranena, lechune ranena, l'Adonai. Naria, naria, l'sur ishenu nekrata, l'chana v'toda. Naria, naria, l'sur ishenu Eloheinu, Bezim Rotariado, Lechun Meranena, Lechun Meranena, Lechun Meranena, Adonai, Lechun Meranena, Lechun Meranena, Lechun Meranena, Adonai. Psalm 96. Sing unto God, all the earth, a new song. I will sing unto God a new song. Sing unto God, will all sing along, all the earth a new song unto God. And let the heavens rejoice and the earth exalt. Let the sea and all within it thunder. The fields and everything in them exalt. And then shall all the trees of the forest shout for joy at the presence of Adonai. For God is coming to rule the earth. God will rule the world justly and its peoples faithfully. We go now to Psalm 97. Adonai reigns, let the land exult and the many islands rejoice. Dense clouds surround God. Righteousness and justice are the foundation of God's throne. And God's lightning illumines the world. Light is shone for the righteous, radiance for the upright. O you who are righteous, rejoice in Adonai and acclaim God's holy name. Psalm 99, Romemu. Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachtavu l'har kodsho. Romemu, Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachtavu l'har kodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Romemu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Romemu. Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachtavu l'har kodsho. Romemu, Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachtavu l'har kodsho. Psalm 29. Avuladonai b'nei Avuladonai kavod v'od Avuladonai kevod shemo Ishtachtavu l'Adonai b'hadrat kodesh Adonai oz le'amo yitein Adonai yivarech et amo And now we come to Lecha Dodi. Our door is already open. I will invite our minion to rise and face towards the door, but I'll stay in the picture because I know you just can't get enough of me. So we continue with Lecha Dodi. Lecha Dodi Lecha Dodi likrat kala, v'nei Shabbat nikalela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, v'nei Shabbat nikalela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala. V'nei Shabbat nikalela. Shabbat zachor v'dibor echad. Ishtiya Adonai echad. Shemo echad. V'shemo tiferet v'tida. Lecha Dodi Lecha Dodi likrat kala, v'nei Shabbat nikalela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, v'nei Shabbat nikalela. Likrat Shabbat lecha ki imekor ha'bracha me'rosh v'keter nesucha sof ma'aseh v'machshav tefila. Rise, congregation. We're going to go on now to Hatsi Kaddish, and for the first time, we're going to bring into camera range our soloist. We're delighted that you're here with us, Lindsay, and to help us out as we celebrate Shabbat.
יתקדש ויתקדש שמי רבה.
אמן.
עלמא יברא הירותי וימליך מלכותי. לכנו יומך וחיי לכל בית ישראל. בגלה ובזמן קריב יאמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך, לעולם ולעולם בעלמיה, יתברך וישתבח, ויתפאר ורומם וינשא, ויתהלל, שמי קדושה ברכו, לילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה נאמתה, דמירם לעלמא, לימרו אמן.
Now I invite the congregation to rise for the Baruch, the call to worship. Ma'ariv Aravim. Praised are you, Adonai, our God, whose presence fills the world and whose word makes evening fall. God opens the gates of heaven and in wisdom makes time pass and seasons change. The stars in the sky move according to God's will. Adonai of hosts is the creator of day and night, causing day and night to alternate. May God govern us always to the end of time. Praised are you, Adonai, who makes the evening fall. Ahavat Olam. And unending is your love for your people, we, the house of Israel. Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts you've taught us. Therefore, Adonai our God, when we lie down and when we rise up, we will meditate on your Torah and rejoice in it forever. Day and night we will reflect on them, for they are our life and the length of our days. And then your love shall never depart from our hearts. Blessed is Adonai, who loves the people Israel.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed.
Please be seated, and we continue with the Via Haftarah.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אלוהים בצווך היום על לבבך, ושינותם לבניך, ודיברת בם, ושבתך בביתך, ולך לך בדרך, ושוכבך ובקומך, ושבתם לאות ידיך, והיו לטוטפות עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיהם. אני אדוני אלוהיהם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות להם אלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיהם.
Emet Emunah. True and enduring, beloved and precious, awesome, good and beautiful is this eternal teaching. This truth we hold to be forever certain. Adonai is our ruler, the rock of Jacob, shield of our salvation. Adonai our God, you redeemed us from Egypt. You set us free from the house of bondage. And for this, the people who felt your love sang songs of praise to you. Living God, high and exalted, mighty and awesome, a God who humbles the proud, raises the lowly, who frees the captive and redeems the oppressed, a God who is the answer to all who cry out. All praise to God Most High, the source of blessing. Like Moses and Israel, we sing this song of rejoicing. We continue now with the Michamot. Hashkibenu. God, during this time of uncertainty, days of worry and nights of concern, we ask that this night you allow us to lie down in peace and raise us up, our sovereign, tomorrow to a life renewed. Spread over us through this time the shelter of your peace. Guide us with your good counsel, and for your name's sake, be our help. Shield us from hatred and plague. Keep us from war, famine, and anguish. Subdue our inclination to evil. O God, our guardian and helper, our gracious and merciful sovereign, give us refuge in the shadow of your wings. O guard our coming and our going, that always we have life and peace. We praise you, O God, whose sukkah of peace is spread over us, over all your people Israel, and over Jerusalem. We're going to continue now with the next rubric, the tefillah. We're going to be turning away from the camera. What we are going to be doing a little differently is that we are going to take a silent prayer immediately following our Kedusha, and will allow us to pray to ourselves, and then we'll conclude this section with Shalom Rav.
Adonai sefataticha ufia yitahilatecha. Adonai, open my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rahel, Elohei Leah. Ha'el Hagedol Hagidol Ha'anora, Elohim Gomel Hasadim Tovim, Vekonei Hakol, Vezoker Haseahot Ve'imahot, U'mevei Geulah Yifnei Pneihem, Le'an Shemo Ve'ahava, Melech Ozer Moshiach Magen. Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'Ezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mekayeh Hakol Atarak Hoshia, Mekakel Hayim Bechesed, Mekayeh Hakol Berachamim Rabim, Zomek Noflim Verofei Kolim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayeh Emunato, Lishenei Afar, Michamot Ha'al Gevurot, Umidomelah, Melech Memit Umekayeh, Umatzmiach Yeshua, Me'eman Natan Hayot HaKol. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekayeh HaKol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, u'kedoshim b'kol yom v'chasela. Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh. You are holy, your name is holy, and all who strive to be holy daily sing your praise. Praised are you, the holy God. I invite the congregation to be seated, and I invite everyone who is participating to take a few moments for your own silent prayers, your meditations, offer up your concerns and your worries to God. We're going to take a few moments for that, and when I return to the screen, we'll close out with Shalom Rav.
ישראל תשים לעולם. שלום על ישראל תשים לעולם. כי אתה לכל השלום. כי אתה לכל השלום. שלום על ישראל תשים לעולם. שלום על ישראל תשים לעולם. וטוב בעיניך לברך את עמך ישראל. בכל עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. שלום על ישראל תשים לעולם. שלום על ישראל תשים לעולם. תשים לעולם. תשים לעולם.
May you, O God, cause enduring and abundant peace to be upon your people Israel and to all people, for you are the master of peace, and may it be worthy in your eyes to bless your people and all of us at all times with your shalom. To borrow the words from another patriot, these are the times that irritate men's souls. We are being asked to sit on our couches and stay at home as a national duty and a kindness to one another, and it can be trying. It can be difficult to do this. And I know that I'm a restless soul, and I find it desirable to go out every once in a while, take care of things. I'm going out and I'm stopping at certain places in order to bring carry out home, in order to sort of offer at least a token of support to local businesses. And I will run in and out of stores every once in a while, working on some things on the house. But, you know, it's easy to misconstrue exactly what we're being asked to do. I was told that it would be enough to wear gloves and a mask to go to Lowe's. And it turns out everyone else was wearing clothing. All right. All right. Our Torah portion for this week is Vayachel, which begins with Moses convening together the entire people. Vayachel Moshe et kol adat b'nei Israel. Moses gathers the whole Israelite community to get together, and he says to them, "These are the things the Eternal has commanded you to do." Now, it seems a little bit repetitious if we think back to a Torah portion like Truma. We've already heard a great deal about the elements of constructing the Mishkan, the portable sanctuary, that the Israelites will take with them in their journey across the wilderness and eventually to the land of promise, to the land of Israel. But now this is the moment they are being called to assemble it all. So Vayachel means assemble, and he assembled. The people assemble, and they bring all of the things that they need in order to assemble the sacred structure. The people, what are you asked to do? It seems like what Moses is doing is he's taking this people who quite honestly have been in a bit of a state of disarray. They're free for the first time in their lives, but they are scattered in the wilderness. They are in places that they have never been before, and they are without doubt frightened and unsure about the future, unsure where they're going, unsure about the security of everything that they might need. And in fact, what we see happening is exactly that. The people become argumentative. They are worried, do they have enough water? Do they have enough food? Is there enough toilet paper? All of these things plague them. And eventually their fear gets the better of them. And they panic. And as a result of that, we have the incident of the golden calf, where they try and find vainly security in a symbol
that they may recall from the past, that they might have seen among the Egyptian temples. But Vayachel is really what it's all about, because what God and Moses give the people is a task to assemble, for them to come together to rebuild morale and also to refocus themselves on this building project, which gives them a sense of togetherness. Moses gathers the people to build the Mishkan, and the response from the people is so generous, so enthusiastic, that all the men and women whose hearts are moved bring items to help build the portable sanctuary, and the offerings are so abundant, the Torah tells us, that Moses has to tell the people to stop giving. Imagine that. So I'd like to further explore this one word, Vayachel, because Vayachel is, I think, the key. Not all Torah portions begin with such a great word, and this one is, and it means he gathered, he assembled. So what does it mean to come together? What does it mean to assemble? What does Vayachel look like? Vayachel looks, according to the Hasidic masters, like bringing the Mishkan together and assembling it, but it was only possible, the Hasidic masters tell us, because of the sense of unity and common purpose among the people. At first, each skilled individual working on this tabernacle did his or her own part in the construction, and it seemed to each of them that their own work was exceptional, and they really weren't paying attention to what everyone else was doing. Afterwards, however, according to this, they saw that their contributions to the service of the Mishkan fit together perfectly. All of the boards, all of the sockets, the curtains and the loop fit together as if one hand, one person, one heart had done it all. And then they realized at last how much they were really dependent on each other. They understood what they had accomplished was not simply the virtue of them alone, but the effort of everyone guided by the Holy One who worked on this structure. This unifying effort, as it were, was an invisible, unseen, reinforcing experience, so that it came to pass, according to Exodus 36, that the tabernacle was echad. It was one. That is what it literally says in Hebrew. It was one because the people were also one. Vayachel today also looks like people coming together in solidarity, even if we may be physically separated, coming together over a cause, coming together over caring, coming together over mutual respect. It looks like the rally for unity that Dr. Anthony Fauci has offered our nation. When it comes to explaining the coronavirus to the American public, there's nobody I like better. He's one of the nation's leading experts on infectious diseases. And as far as I'm concerned, he's everything I need. Just like Bezalel, the foreman, the master craftsman who directed the construction of the Mishkan, guiding the Israelite nation in their task, the good doctor explains things to us. Medical issues made understandable, but without sacrificing medical or scientific precision. He neither exaggerates the effectiveness of the administration response, nor does he underestimate the threat that the coronavirus poses. And by being calm, focused, and competent, the good doctor reassures people that we will get through this, and I believe him. He has soberly warned that, quote, given the spread we've seen, anything is possible, and that's why we've got to be prepared to take whatever action is appropriate to contain and mitigate the outcome. But he believes we can. It is his very honesty, his frankness, and his obvious competence that is comforting. It is in large part because of him, I think, that the public is starting to come around and regaining confidence in the government response to the health crisis. But what is true for our nation is also true for our community here locally. Out of sight of most of us, things have been happening. Becky and Paul and our office manager, Bob, together, working as one, have proved steady leadership to move Kolami online while we are remaining physically apart. I too have been working on things. This week, I have been working to include CKA in the Flower Mound City NIMS planning. That's the National Incident Management System. This you may not be aware of, but there is in fact a system, a plan to draw together all resources, both public and private, to provide a unified response in a crisis. I received this NIMS training myself immediately after 9/11, and I've tried to keep up with it with FEMA. I know these structures are in place here in Flower Mound, and I've been in communication with the police department and with the fire department to let them know that not only are we as a community there, that I am available as a spiritual counselor, but also that we are a people full of resources, that should an emergency come, they can call upon us to find those talents and those gifts that will be needed to take care of this crisis. So too, Vayachel looks like the lay people here at Kol Ami. The meaning of synagogue in Hebrew is Beit Knesset, which means a house of assembly. A midrash teaches us that it is only through the meritorious behavior of humanity that God's presence comes down to earth and is detectable. Though we may not see it, it is happening among our congregants. I want to call attention to Julie Greenberg, to Lori Applebaum, and Annette Barnier, who have rallied together online to help create a Facebook page called Flower Mound Cares for Each Other. This Facebook page is marshaling gifts and talents, just like the building of the tabernacle, but in this case, they're building up our seniors and our children, our most vulnerable. They're gathering up donations and volunteers to help the most isolated and the most vulnerable members of our community. They are currently gathering cleaning goods to help out the 16 senior service centers and seeking volunteers to help entertain children online. And I see another congregant, Casey, joining me in offering online classes. Just this morning, she offered a wonderful class on how to make challah. And just as I plan to continue the DIY Judaism online streamcasts in the coming weeks, I hope she continues to offer her many and varied talents to us online. Now, even though we are physically isolated, Kol Ami, our place of gathering, nonetheless allows us to make God's presence noticeable beyond these walls. Every time I see a member online of our congregation reach out with a loving message, with help to a neighbor, or with gentle words to a struggling family, I see our shul making God's presence notable. When we seek to strengthen our bonds with one another, sharing jokes, sharing humor, even sharing gallows humor, we make God's presence more noticeable to one another. When we welcome Shabbat on Friday night, as we are doing here, even though we may not be physically present, and we join together to sing Lecha Dodi, we are here making God's presence noticeable. And although our portion Vayachel is about the construction of a physical thing, the Mishkan, it is ultimately less about the physical outcome and more about people's contributions and presence within. In other words, you can have a gathering place, but without relationship formed between people, all you have are a bunch of empty walls. So, what does Vayachel look like? Vayachel comes from the same Hebrew word as Kehillah, which means a community. Rabbi Lord Sachs has written, as Jews, it is a community that we come before God. Vayachel is no ordinary episode in the history of Israel. It marked the essential insight to emerge from the crises that came before. We find God in community. When Moses gathered the people, he turned a frightened, unruly mob into a kehillah, a sacred community. This is what we do when we work together in shared purpose. It is what we achieve when we stand together in support of shared values and vision. It is when we make God's presence known through our actions that we have kehillah, and that kehillah is kehillah kedusha. It is a holy community, a community of holiness. In the words of the poet Ruth Bryn, devotion to God sets no limits
And to dedication of the Spirit, God sets no bounds. Not because of the gold on the walls does the light of the sanctuary shine forth, because of the Spirit within it. Those who worship carry away with them more than they bring to the sanctuary, for they find there the light to illumine their lives. Vayachel is coming together in holy community, and Vayachel is making each of our lives a sanctuary, so that God's presence shines forth wherever we may be at this moment. Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Shabbat Shalom.
So it's my delight to invite back up our president to share some announcements with us. Probably a good part of which is what's not happening.
Most likely.
Yeah,
yes.
okay, we'll work with it.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
So welcome to those of you that are here, the ones who volunteered or were voluntold, if you were my children, to be minion tonight. I am ever so thankful. And as we stream this evening, it's definitely a challenging and surreal situation. So as Rabbi already said earlier, we as part of the board, we continue to monitor the coronavirus situation actively, and we continue to adjust our response accordingly. Sometimes it's day by day, sometimes it's even hour by hour. Currently, we are going to be live streaming our services with just the minion present so that we continue to stay within CDC guidelines. We plan on doing this through the weekend of April 3rd and 4th. We have also gone ahead and canceled religious school session for March 29th and any other non-essential activities that would normally take place here at CKA. We just want to make sure we're trying to stay within the spirit and the guidelines of CDC as we do this. We continue to evaluate our situation. We're going to continue to adjust the calendar as needed. We ask for your patience for us as we continue to do this. You guys are going to have questions, and I urge you to submit them to either Bob at the office during office hours or at the office at Kolami email address, which went out earlier this week. I'm sure there are things we're going to miss. So any of your questions we gladly take. It may take us a little bit to respond. We don't want to necessarily knee-jerk a reaction to them. We are going to be looking at some different ways to both live stream interactive web conferences, which you've seen Rabbi do and Casey do earlier today. Those of us that are working remotely, very sad that I didn't get to make challah with everybody today. It looked like it was a lot of fun. I saw the pictures. I'm really glad that seems to be working out. And we may be looking at some live streaming for education as we move forward too. Please continue to monitor the congregation website carefully. It's always going to have the latest information in this ever-changing fluid situation. As I just said earlier, if you have questions, if you need details on something or about any of these announcements, please continue to check the website or talk to the office, also known affectionately as Bob Leonard, my husband. So, as is our custom at Congregation Kolami, we'd like to offer a mishaberach to those in need of healing. If anyone has a name of the 10 of us that are here that they would like to add to the list, and I guess, Bob, if somebody submits a name online, if you let us know, that would be great. I'm going to look slowly from left to right for those of us that are here.
Matthew McQueen, Gordon Nelson.
Thank you.
Trisha Abram.
Thank you.
Noria Smith.
Thank you. Bob, has anyone submitted anything?
Not yet. I
We'll
don't
just
mind.
invite those who are at home to say a name out loud and join us in the Mishabera.
Okay, hang
Wait,
on. May
oh,
the
wait.
ones who blessed our ancestors also
Yes.
bless Anna Binder, Sid Binder, Jerry Cagle, Dave Cook, Henry Enneman, Michelle Griffith, Judy Hurwitz, Deb Kaufman, Alex Koenig, Lauren Koenig, Bill Lee, Sandy Lesner, Judy Morasic, Don Neal, and Adrian Sandler. Yes, Bob.
And Anna Kuharski and Daryl Loomis.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The Mishabera.
May the source of strength, who
renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
You're not gonna touch it.
Long and prosper.
Thanks.
And let me just add that in the spirit of that prayer, we're thinking about all the people that are normally here, all of our regulars. We miss you so much. We're thinking about you, and we hope that we'll be able to regather again soon. But now we're going to bring our service to a conclusion with the Aleinu and Kaddish, and we're going to go to page 82 for those who are here. And I need 2 people who are cross-contaminated. So I'm thinking that maybe Rachel and Ben could come on up here to open the ark.
Rabbi, if they've downloaded the Siddur off the webpage, it is the very last page in the evening
Okay,
service.
on the very last page. If Bob was ahead of me, I didn't know that he managed to share the Siddur with us already. So please come on up, both of you. I invite the Kehillah, the congregation, to please rise. I will keep an appropriate distance. Aleinu leshabeach l'adon hakol, lateinu la'yoser reshit, shelo asanu b'golei haratzot, velo samanu b'mishpachot adama, shelo sam chelkeinu gaden, v'glor aleinu k'chol hamonam, v'nachnu korim, v'mishtachavim u'modim, lifnei melech matei hamlachim, hakadosh baruch hu, shehu natei shamayim ve'yoser haaretz, u'moshavit harav hashamayim imahad, u'shinatu zo, ve'govei merobi, u'Eloheinu einon, Eloheinu v'chesulato, ka'katuv b'torato, yadata hayom v'nashevota elevavecha, ki Adonai hu Elohim, b'shamayim imad, ve'al haaretz mitachat eino. Bayom hahu, yeh Adonai echad, u'shemo echad. And now it's our time to remember the earlier members of our Kehillah, the community, the circle of people who have blessed us and made us who we are. They are no longer physically with us, but we remember and invoke their names and honor them. And I begin by asking, is there anybody here in the immediate community who has lost someone in the last week? All right. We're going to go on to Shloshim. Here in the congregation, we are aware of the loss of Gary Taylor, the stepfather of Becky Leonard and Sharon Pickett, of Jackie Hertzlinger, the mother of Terry Messing, of Donald Potash, the uncle of Brian Hoffman, of Dr. Charles Berry, the friend of Dr. James Elliott, of Allison Beckholtz, the mother of Matt Polikoff, and the first wife of Richard Polikoff. And we're also thinking of Marilyn Jacobs, the mother of Gary Jacobs, all of whom died in the past 30 days. Is there anyone else aware of a Shloshim? And so this week, our yard sites are these. If you are at home and you have not been able to participate, we invite you to say the name of your loved one out loud. We're thinking of, connected to this community, Elaine Berkowitz, Susan Bevis, Edward Klipka, Floyd McCoy, Sue Morton, Max Schmerler, Lori Rubel, and Jack Wallet. Anybody else know of an anniversary of death? We as a community, standing in as a minion for all of us, will now recite Kaddish on page 85. You at home, feel free to join us if you're familiar. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, ve'alma divrach yiruteh yamlit malchuteh, v'kayakon yomepon, uv'chayeh b'kol beit Yisrael, v'gadal v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam v'lamei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yit'ar v'yitamam v'yitnaseh, Yithadar, Yithaleh, Yithalal, Shmei, Risham, Barikhu, Le'elam, Minkol, Birkata, Bashirata, Tushkata, Nekhamata, Damiram, Belma, Vimru, Amen. Yehei, Shlama, Rabba, Min Shemaya, V'chaim, Aleinu, V'al Yisrael, Vimru, Amen. Osei Shalom, B'mruman, Uyasei Shalom, Aleinu, V'al Yisrael, Amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and comfort all the bereaved among us. And let us say,
Amen.
I invite those present to please sit down. And trying to think of an appropriate way to end the service with something that even those of you at home may know. I thought maybe a Hebrew song might be a little more challenging, a little more complex. And because we are struggling in some ways right now, I thought it would be good to do something in English and upbeat. So we have in our prayer books here, "This land is your land." And I thought we'd sing that together and close out our service on an upbeat note.
What page is it? 104.
It is page 104 for those present.
All right, and now I know this song has several verses, so is it okay if we just do the first one?
We can just do the first one.
All right, that works.
I saw above me the endless skyway. I saw below me the golden valley. This land was made for you and me. This land is your land. This land is my land. California to New York Island. From Redwood Forest to Gulf waters. This land was made for you and me.
That one more time. This time is just too fast. 1, 2, 3. This land is your land.
This land is my land. From California to New York Island. From Redwood Forest to Gulf waters. That's us. This land was made for you and me.
This land was made for you and me.
Av habrachot. We are saddened at the state of what we face. We are uncertain about the future. We aren't sure how blessed we are right now. But let us be reminded that there is a world of compassion around us, that there are first responders and caregivers who are working diligently to care for those who are sick. There are government officials and people who are working to ensure the safety of the rest of us. There are all those people on the direct line of things as simple as restocking shelves in order to ensure that we have all the things we need. And so let us be conscious that however much we feel our lives have been temporarily truncated, however much our lives have temporarily been curtailed, that in fact we are blessed each and every day. Let us be always conscious of that, and let us look forward to a time, may it come quickly, that we may all be reunited as a community once again. Adonai oz le'mo yitain, Adonai yivarech le'mo shalom. May God give strength to this people, and may God bless this people with peace. Shabbat shalom, everybody.
Shabbat shalom.
And since we have it here, we're going to go ahead and do our challah and a blessing for challah. Again, a little out of order from the way we normally do it, but I thought we would share this since we don't have a normal oneg. As is our new practice in light of our new restrictions, we no longer pull our bread apart. We're going to be cutting it. So I'm going to hold it up on the plate, and I'm going to ask everyone to join me. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz.
Amen.
So with that, I'm going to ask Bob and everyone else to abandon their position. Come on up and show yourself on camera, and we'll say goodbye by being able to see the entire community gathered here. Come on up here, folks.
Maybe a couple at a time.
Sure.
Sorry.
Oh, yes, no,
Family.
point well taken, point well taken.
Lindsay.
See, I forget. All right, come on up and get yourself, stand back. Stand back. All right, come on up, Dukars and Marcia, come on up.
It's like a pageant.
I know.
It is a pageant.
All right, and then the Lenards. And the Pickets, who are second order Lenards, but come on up.
I'll take it.
And finally, not my beloved wife. She's,
Oh.
it's okay. It's all right. A little bit of being off of the camera is a nice experience. So, and Casey made this challah for us. Oh, yes, please, go ahead and I'll let you do your own work there.
Oh, thank you.
Casey made this challah for us. It arrived warm when I got here around 5:30. So, Shabbat Shalom, everybody, and I hope you have a blessed weekend and a blessed week ahead. We're done.